Hello everyone and welcome to this lesson in algorithms. This lesson will attempt to explain everything there is about the merge sort algorithm. Merge sort is a general purpose comparison based algorithm for sorting. It is a divide and conquer algorithm developed by John von Neumann in 1945. Conceptually, it works by dividing the list into two sublists. This division or splitting is done recursively until only one item remains in each sublist. After that, it will merge each pair of sublists into a larger list, this time in sorted order. This process of merging is also repeated until finally it is merged into one single sorted list. Now let's take a look at a simple demonstration of merge sort in action. Now, let's take for example we would like to sort this list with 8 items. They will have an index of 0 to 7. The first step in merge sort is to find the midpoint of the list. The midpoint is computed by getting the difference of the highest index and lowest index divided by 2. So in this example, our midpoint index is 3. From there, we can divide the list into 2, starting from 0 to 3. That would be the left sublist, and the other sublist will be from 4 to 7. And we get these two sublists. Again, both these sublists will be recursively split. So you'll find the midpoint, and we get 4 sublists. And again, we get 8 sublists, and this time each sublist only have one element. Now the reason why it has to be one element per sublist is to make sure that the starting point during merging is a list which are sorted. And since each of these sublists contains only one element, then it is a sorted list. From this point, merge list will proceed with the merging process. During the merging process, there are 2 pointers, one pointing at every sublist that will be merged. In this case, since each sublist only have one element, both those elements will be pointed at. Now, comparing these two elements, 17 is smaller than 23. And so 17 will be inserted first into the new list, and then 23. This will be done with the rest of the sublist. So pointers will be pointing at 18 and 10. It will be merged into this new list with 2 elements, and comparing 10 with 18, 10 will be inserted first, and then 18. And this process will continue until all the sublist will be merged. At this point, we now have 4 sublists with 2 elements each. These 4 elements, or these 4 sublists, will be merged into 2 sublists with 4 elements each, starting with this first 2 sublists. And so the pointers will now be pointing at the first elements of the 2 sublists. And comparing 10 to 17, 10 will be inserted into the new list, and the pointer will be moved to the next element. At this point, it will now compare 17 with 18, and since 17 is smaller than 18, 17 will be inserted into the new list, and the pointer will move to the next element. 18 compared with 23 is smaller, then the 18 will be inserted, and since there's no other element on that list, the pointer will be discarded, and every element remains in the other list will be inserted into the new list. However, this time is only one element, so that will be inserted there. This process will also be done on the other 2 sublists. So pointers will be pointing at 12 and 34, and since 12 is smaller than 34, 12 is inserted first, then the pointer will move to next. And then 55 is larger than 34, and so 34 will be inserted and the pointer will move to the next. Then 55, then 91. At this point, we now have two lists with 4 elements each. These two will be merged into one single list with 8 elements each. Again, the pointers will be pointing to the beginning of each list. Here we have 10 and 12, and since 10 is smaller than 12, 10 is inserted, and then the pointer will move to the next. Comparing 12 with 17, 12 is smaller than 17, and so 12 is inserted, and the pointer will move to the next element. Comparison again, 17 is smaller than 34, insert that and move to the next. Then 18, then move to the next. 23, and since there's no other element on that list, the pointer will be discarded. Also, since there's no other elements on the left side list, all the elements in the right side list will be inserted in that order. So 34, move to the next. 55, move to the next. 91, and finally, we have our sorted list. So that's how merge sort works.